All right, guys, so last week we wrapped up the roof, so that's all installed, and we're gonna have to do a little bit of deviation from our normal plan. So we've got some framing of windows done, we've got some door framing done, but it's gonna be windy today. I've got a short week with Greg. He's gonna go on a vacation, so it's just gonna be me. So I wanna tackle things that I know I need 2 good hands for, or I guess it'd be 4 hands, 2 sets. Greg, yours are the other set, mine are 1. And that is this end wall. So the back end wall, being tall, those sheets are hard to install. It's gonna be windy as crap today. So we're gonna get started early, see if we can get it done. But what I'm saying is it's gonna be a little bit of mishmash work, because normally I like to follow a plan. I like to frame things. I like to get trim details done and then put up steel. But we're just gonna rush into this and see if we can get some steel up. So let's get into it. We got to cut some house wrap down. We're going to install that first. And that's the tricky thing, because wind and house wrap don't work well. Which way is up? Oh, this way. Okay. So 8/8. Hey, just a little side tip for you guys when cutting house wrap. I see guys will do just about anything. Sawzall, circular saw, but honestly the bandsaw is probably the cleanest and quickest. And the reason it's nice and clean is that it doesn't heat up this material and it doesn't stick. If you use like a circular saw or even a Sawzall, that repetitious back and forth movement or the high speed burns this material, and then unraveling it stinks. So, all right, that's it. There you go. Okay, you hold this, big dog, before we get too far, because this is gonna stretch. Okay, we'll take care of this so we don't have a stupid flapping in the wind. So we house wrap all of our buildings, or at least we try to, because you never know if you're gonna eventually insulate this. Like, we're not doing an interior package on this building. We're not insulating it and doing a liner panel, but the client has expressed interest in finishing it eventually, maybe by himself. So we're gonna do a ceiling, and that means, you ready? Yeah. Oh yeah. That means the house wrap is gonna be an air barrier. It's gonna help prevent wind blowing through a steel panel, which you may think, oh, wind can't blow through steel. Yes, but there's a lot of gaps and cracks in a steel facade, and this just is gonna ensure a better job and easier efficiency for heating and cooling. Also, what do you think about that custom logo there on the house wrap that looks like a... Actually, I'm not gonna say what it looks like. I'm sure I'll get plenty of people in the comments to let me know exactly what it looks like, because I've heard them all. I don't like wavy house wrap. That's actually why I like this Block It. You can kind of stretch it out. Oh. See, this is the problem with the wind. It sucks the house wrap in, shrinking it, so it makes it harder for me to run it nice and tight down here. It's kind of nice. We don't even have to put staples in this middle section, so I mean, we probably should put staples on this row though, huh? Yeah. We'll see what the wind does. Okay, whenever we get around a corner, we're not gonna keep running this house wrap because we don't want wind blowing it off and rattling in our ears. We just take a screw and screw it right to the frame of the building, and it works out pretty good. That shouldn't go. Here, I'm gonna put one down here. Yeah. Because 20-mile-an-hour winds, this might blow around. There. All right, house wrap on. Now we can go ahead and get our base trim installed. Wainscot, windows, which are right here. So, yeah, let's do it. Maybe we'll get the steel on, Greg. I don't know. I like to live life on the edge. All right, window frame. That's good. Okay, a lot easier if I go inside for this part. Probably one of the #1 most annoying things on the construction job site is flapping house wrap. So I try to kind of secure it and take care of the excess, because the flap seriously will drive me insane. I can't be the only one. That has to be annoying. And honestly, that's why I like using sheathing, but not every job of ours really makes sense to sheathe. Okay, so this top piece, we're actually gonna leave that for when the window goes in. So, see if I can reach it. At times I can just roll it up and get it out of my way. That way we can install our window, and then we'll wrap that over top, so, okay. Oh, I do like that.
Why did we never use it?
I don't know, I guess I forgot how smooth it was. Consistent. I think just because it requires you to get a battery, it's a little bit heavier. I don't know, I'm just making up excuses at this point, because this is, okay. We don't ever put caulk in that bottom. We're gonna leave that open. All right, you got your nails, Greg? Or, yeah. Oh, that wind. Okay, so Greg gonna just give me a nice centering. Hey, did we plumb this wall up? I mean, we got chains and braces.
Chain, brace.
And how's it look?
It looks pretty good, actually. I would say you're pretty centered.
You know, a wise man once said, if it looks straight, it is straight.
Right.
Are you saying it looks straight?
Yeah.
Are you saying the sides or the tops are good too?
Yeah, I would say yeah.
All right. Greg's the ultimate truth. All right, buddy, that's it. So I'm not gonna nail all these off, because we're gonna be screwing steel around it, installing J-channel around this. There's tape gonna get done. I just usually go every other one. You're good, Greg. You can pull your nail or your pencils. Do you guys want to see how fast this caulk gun will actually dispense? We're gonna crank it all the way up to 6. I don't know if I'll be able to, I'm probably gonna waste so much caulk here, but let's see what happens. Oh God. That's a caulk bead right there. That's not gonna leak for a long time. Greg, you see how fast that went? You didn't even watch?
No.
Yeah, you know what, I just wanted, I mean, this is, it's probably not too big. It's just wherever you slow down, that sucker just, and that was a little excessive. I gotta be careful, there's a lot of caulk. Sealant.
Up. There you go.
Oh, it didn't do too bad. Nice. So we just get those little clumps leveled out. We'll be golden. All right, so we're gonna wrap up these windows. I'm gonna work probably on J-trimming them out, getting them ready for steel. And Greg is gonna, I think, probably need my help or what? Get some base trim to install. So, and then we'll be ready to start putting some steel on this back wall. All right, so before we start our steel, I'm gonna set my laser at 0, because we've got this doorway. This doorway is kind of like, you know, we want our concrete to be flush with the top of this doorway. So all I'm going to do is just bring my plumb stick here up until I find, hopefully, the laser. Okay, so once we have this locked in, we know our grade. Our base trim is a 1-inch base trim, so all I have to do now is I can move this down to +1. So when we run our base trim, this will now be 1 inch higher than this 0 point, which is the top of our concrete floor, which is exactly where we want to be. So this is always important. I don't know how many times I should do a count on how many times we set the laser up to check a grade somewhere. But honestly, it just makes it much easier than snapping a line and trying to pull tape measures, which is what we used to do. You'll see how easy this is. Okay, so this is our base trim. So 1 inch, that's what I was talking about. And we've got this return leg. I've seen a lot of different types of base trims, but this is the one that we typically like to use because it closes off the bottom. There's a bunch of different styles, but this type allows us to do our nice one-piece corner bend arounds, which I'm sure we'll show at some point. So I'm gonna wait for Greg because we're just gonna use this laser receiver and we'll be able to set it up exactly where grade is plus 1 inch and fasten it. All right, you thinking maybe 5 feet would be?
I think so.
Let's kind of go.
We'll do like a half piece or whatever.
Yeah, let's go 5 feet. Right in here. Go ahead and set that bad boy.
Yeah.
Cool. Let's see, what are we, 1 inch? Look at that. That's what I love about this style of base trim. We can very easily do just a beautiful wraparound corner. And no, you don't need a tab here or nothing. It's gonna be covered by steel, covered by corner trim. It's all good. Look at that, new Metabo crown stapler. Used it on the soffit. Really do like it. Good, good weight, ergonomics. Yeah, it does a really good job. I went right through it? Both times?
Yeah, 3 times.
Holy crap.
Oh my gosh.
Settle down, Kyle. There. That might be a little too far out. Let's try that. But I gotta be close to you because I gotta staple it right where your thing is, otherwise it could be off. I just like to make it uncomfortable. Don't move it, don't breathe. Let me just check this middle here.
Yep.
All right. So this is important. Anytime you run steel, we want to make sure that we lay out our steel. So I'm marking a 3 foot spacing for our wainscot. And this is also what our upper steel will get based off of as well. I'm actually marking 3'1" because the center of our rib is at 3 foot, but the edge of our panel is 1 inch further. So Greg's holding me even on the end. Greg, I'm gonna have to probably pull this. Why don't you, let me get one more and then I'm gonna have you move over. Okay. We're getting a little bit of wind on this. I just don't want it to droop. Okay, now you're holding even.
3 foot, yep.
So now I need to go even.
Yeah.
Is that okay for you, Greg?
That works.
Okay. Kind of found it disrespectful you checking my workout like that. Double checking the measurement of the spacing of some sawhorses. Of all things, you're gonna double check that on me? So we're just punching our wainscot, and once you get a nice whole set, it usually will kind of lock them in, but when you have small pieces, it can move around, so you have to be cognizant of the pile, making sure it stays straight. And we only marked every other sheet because if the steel is produced properly, you're not going to get off in one sheet. But you never know if the steel's... Greg, you know what I don't like about this though? Is that by not doing a square line, I'm more or less just eyeballing it, which...
I hope you do.
So what I meant is that Greg squared down my mark so that I have a mark on the top and the bottom, and that's all I really care about is hitting those marks. So boom, put a bottom screw, go ahead and hit them. I want to confirm that we're golden on all of them. Now you can see here, what I'm doing is once I've got that screwed, I'm just pushing this so that I get this little bend tight into the siphon rib bend. And then I want to show you this here. People have asked, like, what is a siphon? If you look right here, you can see how this piece of steel, let me just grab something to point, this big opening right here, what's going to happen is if water gets pushed into this joint, that's called a siphon. It's going to create an air gap and a place for the water to not, what do they call that, Greg? What's the term? Not hydrostat. Oh, what we talk about? Oh, surface tension. Like the surface tension of the water won't come all the way back around. It's going to hit that spot and drain out. So it's very important. I've seen this, and the only reason I'm saying it is because I'm always amazed that I see people, they install this the other way around and they put this siphon leg over top thinking it's doing a better job at coverage, but it actually isn't. You might have water work its way right around. We see it all the time, don't we, Greg?
That's true.
Yeah. So, hey, if you've never installed steel before and you're looking at the panel saying, which way does it go? This leg here goes underneath and this guy goes over top. Okay, wainscot done on the back. That takes about, 15 minutes. And now we can put our, what we call double angle trim, and that's gonna, keep the water going out over top. So, well, we thought maybe we were gonna get some wind on us and not probably be able to do this end wall steel. We do not, I don't know if you can hear that, but we do not want a lot of wind. I'm gonna turn my back to it when doing these long 20-some foot pieces of steel with just Greg and I. So even though I'm kind of on a Monday morning, want some good instant gratification, we're gonna go ahead and just continue doing prep work. We've got some windows and doors yet to frame, some trim details to do. We'll probably try to run some house wrap and some more wainscot, but we're gonna hold off on this big end wall until tomorrow when it's supposed to be a lot calmer in the weather. All right, so what I need to do is basically, I changed the layout of our steel on our side, and what it did is it shifted our rib over, and this is where I want my new center of my window to be. So I'm just gonna go ahead and mark this. It should be, yeah, roughly 7.5 inches. So I can just take this guy, mark it over, engage my safety squints. Let's mark this location. I feel like that should go.
It could be just tight.
Well, I don't know. Oh, maybe it's just tight. Shoot. Try doing that in a stick frame home. You ain't gonna move a window that easily. So now we just screw everything back together. And yes, these are structural screws, guys. I really don't know how many times I have to tell people that we use GRKs and they're made for framing. So yes, a lot of times when you're framing, nails are better because they are more malleable. They don't break as easily, but for what we're doing here, this is perfect. It draws everything nice and tight, keeps everything where we want it. And okay, now we got our window right where we need it. You like it there? Thank you, sir. You're a gentleman and a scholar.
Yep.
All right, and then we just cut a new piece to finish this off. My bad, I forgot that I didn't screw this back in, so I just hit it over. I need some more screws anyway, I forgot to get them. Give me those. Thanks, buddy. That's better. Okay, now this is ready to be covered with house wrap. Greg is going to be putting our top trim on, the wainscot, and it's very similar to the base trim, except for it doesn't have a return. So it's just going to set right on top like this, so that it's basically a Z-flash. It's just anytime you have a difference in steels, you gotta flash it so obviously the water running down the wall will go out over top. So, and if you're looking at that like, what the heck, it's just got a plastic coating on it because it's black. Some of our black trims will get that so that it doesn't get scratched up. All right, so yesterday we got a lot of prep work done. You can see all the wainscot, the trim, the windows. Today, we've got a big day. We've got goals of getting a ton, and if not a ton, maybe most of the upper steel done on these 3 walls that we worked on yesterday. So we're not gonna spend a lot of time talking. We're gonna get right into working because we got a lot of work to do. Typically I would make all these trims up for all the windows at the same time because they're all the same, but we're in a hurry just to get some steel up this morning. There could be a minor problem that we were told about on our steel, and we don't know if it's the case. They don't know if it's the case exactly because they had an issue and our steel was produced around the same time. So we're gonna try to hurry up and run this side steel here, see how it goes before we get into the end wall, because the problem is they found a roller, one of the bearings in the actual, machine at the factory that roll forms it. And so they found some panels that were getting skewed, and it's not that there's a problem from a standpoint of a defect in the product. Like, you would never see it, but we will feel it when we're installing it because it won't just install as easily. So anyway, we're gonna go ahead and start running it, see if we see any problems, and then we can give them a call if they need to remake any steel. I sure hope there's no problems though. Sometimes on these vinyl windows, you get this little weld right here from the vinyl, and you just gotta clean it off so that your trims can be straight. It's kind of a pain, but the nice thing about a vinyl window, for us, I like, is that it's usually a nice molded one piece. So you don't have to worry about, like with a aluminum clad window, a lot of times, if you don't seal back to the window, you can really have issues. Water can work its way in. Don't really worry about that with vinyl. We do seem about an inch lower than I would have wanted to be, Greg.
Yep.
But it's fine, 32s.
32.
64, 64, 96. We should be able to get all these in one punch.
Yes. Okay, I'm gonna back this guy up.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that was deep. I just want to make sure that what our dimension is, because we gotta be, I look lined up with my roof ribs, but I gotta be an inch, 3 inches off that corner. It's actually going good. The steel doesn't seem to have any issues. It's going and lining up with our wainscot down below, which we laid out to that 3 foot increment, and Greg is hitting the marks up top. So cross your fingers, this is the way it goes, and we can have a really good day putting up a lot of steel. Am I good to put this one up, Greg? Something I've been wanting to do, because, you know, we try to do the best we can to seal up all this J, but, you know, there's still a crack here. And even though we seal back here so water can't get in, you know, it's possible that water will get in there. My thought is it's gonna dry out. That's why we use good quality sealants. But I thought, you know, just because there's always a chance, what if we just take a piece of seal tape, since we've got it, and we tape over this flashing just to get any moisture that maybe gets behind the window. Now it can run out over that flashing. I don't know, what do you guys think? Worth it? I figure why not? It takes a couple seconds and just a little bit of tape. So one thing to note is that we always try to make sure that when we plan out a window, and we talked about this, that the rib is not in this channel. And we have a nice piece of flat metal that can get pushed in to that sealant that I just laid. So that water not only is going to have a hard time getting back behind there, but up here, it'll work out over and down instead of into the inside of a rib where it'll just have free flow. So it's important, and we always, as long as we lay out our window center with the center of a rib, it will land in this position and it works out really nice for us. Okay, I'm hitting somewhere, Greg. Okay, perfect. This is running good. These last couple sheets, they won't take nothing to put up. Come on, get in there. Well, okay, whenever I'm bringing a sheet in, I'm looking to line up this rib with the lower rib, but also, I don't want to just set it right down on the metal. I keep it just off the metal. And, you know, that's to prevent when this is moving around while I'm installing it, it doesn't do any scratching, but also you just don't want tight. It's better for maybe a little bit of expansion, contraction. And then also, way up top, Greg has a mark. And I'm just hitting my steel ahead so it hits that mark, and then I install it. That way I know that we started plumb, we measured it out every 3 foot. I'm going 3 foot down here, and that mark up top is 3 foot, so I can ensure that I'm staying plumb and where I need to be so that when I get to the other end, I don't have any issues. As long as you install this very straight, which is based off of our base, which is off of a laser, you can do this. This will look nice and consistent, straight, clean, and you don't have that jag going on. Every time you have a lap, if your stuff's not running plumb, you're gonna have a jag and you're gonna see this angled steel like this. This is all ready to get screwed off. We're not gonna go any further here because we have a porch to build. We need to frame it, and we're gonna stay away from this corner till that's done. But now we know our steel's pretty good. We're gonna go ahead and go to that end wall. Hopefully this wind doesn't keep going, because we got like 20-some foot sheets to put up back there. So let's get set up back there and start running steel. Imagine teeping somebody's house with this. That won't disintegrate, you know?
You're looking it to unravel, though.
I think it would. Think you threw it? If I try it, will you pick it up? All right, this is our end wall steel. So if you notice, there is a stagger. All these sheets are cut 1 foot shorter than the next one because as our pitch goes up, we need a little bit longer steel. So what we have to do is unstack it all to get to the shortest sheet. Then we have to restack it from shortest to tallest, back down to shortest so that we can install it one at a time up the gable and then back out of the gable. This isn't that big of a deal. So we just basically pull all these sheets off and stack them down. You're gonna let me go around?
Yep. I got bottoms though.
Yes.
Bottoms and those.
Oh boy. Okay, go ahead. So what we're doing right now is because the gable wall is so tall and it is not following the same exact 32-inch spacing as our wall girts, Greg's gonna drop me his tape measure and he's gonna go all the way to the peak and we're gonna get all of our nailer rows figured out. And I'm gonna write them down here so we don't forget. So
Right on that rib.
right here?
Yeah.
All right.
156.
199, 223,
223.
and 247. Should be. They are 2 foot on center up there, but
Oh, I'm max there.
it's always good to double check. Well, just check a 2 foot. Oh, okay. 247?
Yeah, 247.
Okay. Yeah, so once we get into them, they're always 2 foot on center. I think that's because most end frame trusses are gonna get sheathed with a 4x8 sheet of plywood or OSB. So we're doing steel. We don't need 2 foot on centers, but all right, Greg, your measurements are right here, buddy.
Okay.
156.
Gonna be center rib.
Okay, so tight, I'm about 163 and 3/8. Let's go 163. And since it's a 412 pitch, I don't have to know the other dimension because I can just add 1 foot to my 163 dimension and it will be exactly where I need to be, which I've got 13 inches of steel left over, so we're gonna mark 1 inch on this end, 13 inches on that end. Now that I know that, as long as our building is level, plumb, our sheets are installed plumb, I can just cut 1 inch to 13 inches all the way up the stack, and that'll be the exact sheet size if everything is right, and we'll find out soon enough. Greg, do you have the level? I can go ahead and already mark this next one, 1 and 13, and if this piece fits in there nice, then that will be my stagger up the entire thing. Gotta make sure the wall's plumb before you install the sheet because once this metal is installed, there's no move in the building. It's like it's just a big shear wall. So we're good to go though. Yeah, there's a little bit of wind. Not too much for you though. Nice. Anytime you have windows on end walls, long sheets, man, you hope you don't make a mistake because then you got to replace long sheets. It gets costly. So we're just going to keep crossing our fingers, double checking our measurements. Greg, can I get a piece of J channel?
Yeah.
There we go. You ready, Greg? These are getting a little bit longer. But as long as I think I got the wind on my back, I should be good. Let me hit my mark. All right. Oh boy. There we go. No, don't worry about it. I got you. Okay. Yep. That's actually pretty hard for my left hand. I'm not a lefty, so I gotta take it nice and slow. But one thing I was gonna say is, since we're cutting windows, check this out. If I show you my tape measure on these ribs, Every rib is centered on 9 inches. So 9, 18, 27, and then you've got these minor ribs that are 3 inches apart. So when you're doing your measurements, let's say this last one was 24 3/4 where I cut the window out, I don't have to hook anything on my end. I can just line up 27 or 18, and then I'm right by my 24 3/4. If that makes sense, I don't have to actually hook anything. It makes it really easy and kind of foolproof to get a good accurate measurement in the middle of a metal panel. So because we got this big cutout, I can't just stand it up the same. So I just go ahead and give Greg the top end, and then he kind of takes it up. I'm not sure, Greg. Okay. Yep. And one more. There we go. Oh, that's my hand right down there. You good?
Yep.
Whew. But that's the last window on this wall, so now we're able to just take 3 more folds of the corner and the end wall is all steeled. I don't know if that's a word. Covered in steel, maybe? Let's use that word. Nice. So that little board trick, that's something you learn after you lose a couple sheets because you don't have down pressure on super long ones. So by having that little board with a screw head, you can just stick the center rib right in it and turn it up pretty easily. I'm not saying it's easy, but it's doable, and it really saves us a lot of time from having Greg having to come up and down in the lift, which saves fuel, time, and money. All right, big end wall is done. So Greg's gonna keep screwing that off while I get this one prepped. We got windows to trim out and some house wrap to do, but this is a lot of monotony. We just need to run this. I'm still hopeful that we will get this all done today. So let's just keep moving into it, and we'll just throw like a time lapse up or something. Greg's gonna be leaving me tomorrow. It's his birthday, so drop a happy birthday down below. It'll be way late because I'm sure this video won't come out till he's well into his 30s. Look at this guy. He's gonna be 30 years old, so definitely drop him a happy birthday. And we're gonna wrap this up, and then next video is gonna be probably a lot of me doing miscellaneous stuff that, remember, I told you we kind of skipped because I knew I was leaving Greg. I wanted to get all this steel up and just use him for the donkey that he is, you know? He's like, carries the weight of this team. And I've got like soffit fascia, we've got gable trims, we got walk doors, overhead door header, just a ton of miscellaneous things that I can tackle to get done. So when Greg shows back up, we can wrap up this exterior and then go in and do a ceiling for this job. So, and we've also got a porch to build. So we're not done with this yet, but this is a huge milestone for us to get all this metal up and the building locked down. So you guys have a good one. We're gonna wrap up cleanup and we'll catch you on the next video.